The Verdict, a Sidebar production, hosted by Kent Myers and Mick Cornett. As a part of its traditional and continuing commitment to public and community service, Crow & Dunlevy sponsors The Verdict. Also sponsored by Delta Dental, Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, and C.H. Guernsey & Company. Each week on The Verdict, we present an objective discussion of contemporary and legal issues, topical issues that will affect Oklahomans in their daily lives. The Verdict, a Sidebar production.
And welcome to The Verdict. I'm Mick Cornett, and I am joined, as always, by one of Oklahoma's top legal experts, Kent Myers. And Kent, a couple more special guests today.
Yes, we have an interesting show first for this Sunday to talk about Oklahoma, to talk about the Oklahoma birthday celebration, but with particular emphasis on the new dome that was put on the Capitol and the other changes that are being made in the Capitol complex. When these changes, as we will find out about today, are completed, it's going to make the Capitol in Oklahoma City a very interesting place to visit. Not that it wasn't before, but it's going to be very different. It's going to have a new face, a new look, a new appearance, and I think it will be fascinating for tourists, locals and tourists alike, to come see. And we're going to have today the person that can tell us most about it. Blake Wade will be on in our next segment to tell us about all that's going on at the state capitol.
We better get to it. Today we'll learn more about the new dome and several other changes at the Capitol complex. You're watching The Verdict with Mick Cornett and Kent Myers.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
The Verdict is pleased to have as a sponsor C.H. Guernsey & Company, providing architectural and engineering services to clients throughout the U.S. and around the world.
American Express Tax and Business Services. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. American Express Tax and Business Services. In Oklahoma City, the phone number is 405-843-5311.
And Blankenship has stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Leaving it 4th and 7 on the Tiger 46-yard line. 38 seconds on the clock. The Tigers have no choice but to go for it. Wiggins in to do the kicking. Here's the snap. And the kick is away.
All children deserve a life of hope and love. But sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all of the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. Oklahoma Lawyers for Children has over 350 of the best attorneys and volunteers in Oklahoma County who donate their time and services to represent children. For more information, call 405-23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
And welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, who's going to introduce our guest.
We are so pleased on The Verdict to have a longtime friend of mine, Blake Wade, joining us today. Blake is the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Centennial Commission, has been since 1999. He's the person responsible for overseeing what goes on out at the Capitol in regard to our birthday celebration in 2007, as well as a lot of other things around the state that we'll get to on a later show. Blake is a Lawton native, an OU graduate, a career Army officer, retired after 20 years in the Army. For 9 years, he was the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Historical Society. And Blake, we're really pleased you join us, and by the way, it's good to see you again.
Thank you, Kent. Glad to be here.
Well, let's talk first about the dome. We all know that on November 16th, we dedicated our dome at the state capitol. Why did we decide to do a dome now?
Well, I first got to give credit to Governor Frank Keating, who for the 8-year period that we just had, he wanted to make improvements to the Capitol area, with his first priority being the Capitol Dome. Through the Oklahoma Centennial Commission, I must say they added Oklahoma Capitol Complex and Centennial Commission, so that our first priority these past 2 years was to put on the dome at the Capitol. We went ahead. The thing we had to do was raise the money privately, because many people in Oklahoma did not like the thought of spending money on the dome. Through the support of all Oklahomans, this was accomplished, and the dome cost Kent $20.6 million to complete. 90% of that was from private donations.
And we did it at a time when the economy was much better than it is today, or at least the state budget much better than it is today.
Honestly, Kent, today we couldn't do it. I mean, that's that timing, fate, whatever you want to call it, but it takes a whole lot of people, dedication to do that. And it was all Oklahomans that built it, donated to it, and now I believe everybody really enjoys our new Capitol.
Well, let's do something a little different than what we normally do on the verdict. Let's look at some still photos, and I'll just ask you to tell our viewers what we're looking at.
Sure.
Let's look at the Centennial logo.
Well, that is very, very important to all of us. We had to come up with the old and the new, and we want to make sure all Oklahomans knows that in 2007 we will be 100 years old. I'd like to tell a story that I called around to a few of the other states like Pennsylvania, thinking that, you know, they've have a history lesson, but they've been through 3 or 4 of these. Oklahoma is so young that we are absolutely accountable for our first 100 years, and we will celebrate that 2007.
The old phrase, how soon you forget. The dome, the Capitol now has a dome and a statue on top of the dome. Let's look at a still photo of what the Capitol looked like before the dome was placed on it.
Absolutely. I think if you look at that, and many people thought that was good enough, but now that we have the dome, and I believe I've heard people say all over Oklahoma City from various distances, they are able to see the dome and then a light on top, and we're so proud of that.
Well, let's look at another photo about the work going on the dome.
This was right in the middle. That balloon is our Centennial balloon, and we certainly want everybody to know that whenever we have a project or a fair around Oklahoma, we bring that balloon out, and it says on there Oklahoma Centennial. But that was during the middle of putting on the dome structure.
Now let's take another look at a photo about the completed work on part of the Capitol complex.
Right. This is when it was finished. I must say to you that the plaza in front is also a Centennial project. It was a grant from the federal government for $3.5 million, and we have needed that plaza, and so we've named it the Oklahoma Centennial Plaza, that we dedicated right before we dedicated that dome.
Is that the north end or the south end?
That is on the south end, your entrance way into the Capitol, and it is marvelous. We want all Oklahomans to come out and see their beautiful Capitol.
Let's take another look at a photo about the ballroom set up for the celebration.
Gracious sakes, we had 2 gala events the 2 nights before. The first night for our legislators and their guests, and it was the interior of the dome that no one had seen up till that time. So they were the first on Thursday night, November the 14th, and then on November the 15th.
Yeah, let's look at that next picture.
Okay. November the 15th, we of course had all of our donors, and as I said earlier, 90% of the money raised for the dome, and all the money for the dome dedication ceremony was privately funded, and I do believe everybody that was there really enjoyed it.
About how many people did you have?
All in all, we had about 35 to 40,000 people, and it was really a great 3-day event.
A lot of celebrities?
A lot of celebrities. You know, people that really mean a lot to me, of course, and all Oklahomans like Jimmy Webb and Vince Gill and Amy that we've made a true Oklahoman, and so many others, Leona Mitchell, and I can go on, all our baseball, football fans. You know, it was just really an Oklahoma event.
We've got some video that I'd like to have us bring up now, and you tell us what we're seeing when it comes up.
Oh, golly, that's the Guardian. And let me talk a moment about the Guardian that's on top of the statue. First, it's called the Guardian, and it stands on top of the dome and was designed by Senator Enoch Kelly Haney. And it weighs 5,980 pounds and is 17 feet tall on top of that dome. Senator Haney said the Warriors does not represent any particular tribe, but features common themes and traditions from several Indian nations. He chose to sculpt a warrior from a time before Europeans arrived with clothing, jewelry, and a weapon made of materials found in nature.
Yeah, there's some jets going over.
Oh, golly, was that not a beautiful day? That was a part of the dedication right after Leona Mitchell had sang the Star-Spangled Banner, and it was just absolutely breathtaking.
What's been the response of visitors to the Capitol since the dome's been completed, the Capitol, that portion of the project's been completed? What kind of remarks do you get?
I'd like to put it in common sense terms. Yesterday I was at a car wash, and the lady that works at the car wash said, "Mr. Wade, I'd like to just say to you, I didn't like you putting on the dome, but I'm telling you, I live out on Meridian and 23rd, and I just can't tell you how impressive it is." And for somebody like that to stop me and say that how impressed they are, they did not like it. 49% of Oklahoma did not like it, but you know, today I think that there's probably 98, 99% are saying it, they're all for it.
With that, let us get us to our first break. Blake, thanks for coming in and talking about the improvements made at the state capitol. We'll all be back right after this.
I'd like to offer my most sincere congratulations to the firm of Crow & Dunlevy, the employees and attorneys. Profound contributions to the state of Oklahoma for this past century, and I wish you well for this coming century. Thank you.
Happy anniversary, Crow Dunlevy, and thank you for 100 years of providing quality legal service to the state of Oklahoma. We wish you much continued success and growth.
St. Gregory's University has been changing the lives of people like me for 125 years. Affordable private Catholic education balanced with dedication to community and service makes St. Gregory special. We're extremely proud of our students' outstanding academic achievements and our nationally ranked athletic teams. It's when you help a student build a future of balance, integrity, and service that you change a life forever. St. Gregory's, a community for life.
We are C.H. Guernsey & Company. We provide engineering, architecture, and consulting services to clients across the nation and around the world. Our corporate headquarters are located in Oklahoma City, and we have branch offices across the country, including Tulsa. We have provided quality service to clients for nearly 75 years. At Guernsey, we believe in quality work and unconditional client satisfaction. To learn more about C.H. Guernsey & Company, log on to our website at chguernsey.com.
I enrich our cultural landscape.
I help define our quality of life.
I am one of 4,000 artists in central Oklahoma who receive
support from Allied Arts, this community's united arts organization.
I am an Allied artist.
Mick Cornett and Kent Myers back on The Verdict. We're talking to Blake Wade, the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Centennial Commission.
Blake, we talked in the first segment with you about the dome, but there are other capital improvements out there that have happened or are going to happen. Can you tell us about those?
Absolutely, Kent. As I mentioned earlier about the plaza being renovated and restored, we're also got to talk about the governor's mansion and the Phillips Pavilion that was paid by private dollars. Governor Brad Henry and his lovely wife Kim are going to be so fortunate to be coming into a time when the mansion and the grounds are immaculate. And these are things that have been done under the Capitol Complex improvements. We want to talk about the Lincoln Renaissance. That was a project at Department of Central Service. Let me just say that the Centennial did not do all of these things. What they are is a part of state government, and Department of Central Services worked so hard on buying out all of those properties up and down Lincoln to make improvements, and have cleaned them up, and we put in new pavement and new signs. My greatest thought right now is the welcome signs into the Capitol from the north and the south. Those were capital projects, Centennial projects, that we're real proud of. We realize today that the state is not in a financial good situation, and we've got to go out and, you know, is our cup half empty or half full? We want it to be half full, and we want to be able to find dollars that we can continue to do these great projects. Improvements are being made at the entrances of all coming into the Capitol from all directions. Improvements are already on 23rd. Oklahoma City community has gotten out there and made improvements. So we're real pleased with how the Capitol Complex looks, and we're going to continue.
Blake, the Native American Cultural Center is another project that I know you've been working on, even though it's not located on the Capitol grounds.
Well, I'd like to include it in on the Capitol because it's right down the street, so to speak, in I-35 and 40, going down like you're going down to Norman. The Native American Indian Cultural Center, listen to those words, because I know Mayor Humphreys and you and the City Council are extremely behind this. The federal government just released $33 million of matching funds to go towards this. This will be a destination spot for all of the world to come to Oklahoma City, and I do believe with the priority that's being given by Mayor Humphreys, by Governor Brad Henry mentioned it in his inauguration speech, that this is his priority. We are going to be so excited to be able to work with the Oklahoma Historical Society and the Smithsonian to bring back collections that were from American heritage and Indian heritage. And we're going to have that all on the heritage-centered grounds.
Let me change the subject just a minute. There's a judicial center being built. Where is that being built, and what will that house?
Well, that's as important as everything else we're talking about. It's a domino effect. We're moving the Oklahoma Historical Society that I was a part of over to the west end of the governor's mansion, and we bought all that property, and we're putting in a new history center. Dr. Bob Blackburn and his staff are working diligently on the finances, and it's being built right now, again, by an Oklahoma company. What that does on the domino effect, it then releases the present historical building to become the judicial center.
And where is that generally located?
That is right there at the Capitol, on the Capitol grounds, on 22nd and Lincoln.
Just on the south side of the
south side of the Capitol, and it is already, the wing on the back where the old parking lot is being turned over, and they've already started on the judicial center. And the reason why that we're doing all that is there's just no room in the Capitol. And certainly once this judicial center gets built, it's going to be as grand as everything else that we're doing.
What will take place there?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to move the Supreme Court in, the criminal appeals will be there, courtroom, and...
what about the Court of Civil Appeals?
Civil appeals will also be there, and it's going to allow room within the Capitol to grow. But they can't move over there until the Historical Society gets to their new building, and so these are all happening as we're talking.
What's the timetable?
All before 2007, I guarantee you that, but I know that Dr. Blackburn is talking about 2004, Judicial Center 2005. Every year we want projects like this to continue building up to 2007.
Now, these Historical Society and Judicial Center, those are publicly funded or privately funded, or both?
Well, they're both. I know that they're raising private dollars, but they also did get appropriations.
Are they fully funded as far as you
No,
know?
we still are needing money. I know for the History Center, the project is a $59 million project, and they've got about 37, and so they're continuing on. And also with the Judicial Center, they're needing about 23, I believe, and they're up to about 12 million. But the actual construction is already started, and so we know we're going to get that money.
Let's talk about another item, the Land Rush Monument. What is that, and where will it be?
Well, I'm so glad we're talking about the Land Rush Monument, because about a year and a half ago, we went before the city council, and Mick was there. And Oklahoma City, and we had a dream, and that is this beautiful, beautiful monument about our Oklahoma land run. And we had the sculptor, Paul Moore, the man that is doing the design. Now, this was a $5 million project, and so as all projects, we wanted everybody to be a part of it. The city council at that time provided $1.7 million just to make sure that we had the other 1/3 and the state 1/3 and federal government. And Congressman Istook, I'm happy to say, really jumped in there and got us not only the 1.7, but gave us some landscape money too. So it's about $2 million. The Centennial has about $450,000 of theirs, and so Paul Moore has already started, and our plan is every year between now and 2007 to put 7 pieces of this 46-piece monument, hero-sized bronze statues, mind you, that'll go half on one side of the canal and then the other half coming out of the canal. And I do believe will be, as Frank Keating said one time, this will be our arch to St. Louis.
You know, one thing occurs to me, Blake, and all that we've talked about in the financing, that old phrase that timing is everything. It looks to me like once you started touching things, the timing all worked out for the best, and you got your money when it was there to get.
Well, a lot of it's luck, but a lot of it is people that were on that city council that saw that we needed to happen. Mayor Humphrey's leadership and everyone else had just been wonderful about this. The sponsors that I can say to you that when we did that dome dedication and all these projects, Oklahoma companies came forth, and also foundations.
Blake, we appreciate you coming in. Our time has disappeared too quickly.
Come back next week, will you?
I'd love to. Thank you both.
Kent and I'll be back with the final word after this.
And that's the office.
Uh-huh.
Oh, those are my territories.
Uh-huh.
Think being a big brother means taking time out of your schedule to tutor a kid in algebra? Think again. To learn more about becoming a big brother or big sister, call 1-888-412-BIGS.
Bringing out the best in each student. That is the simple goal and tradition of Heritage Hall. The focus on the individual shapes the educational experience at Heritage Hall. Each student benefits from small classes, able, dedicated teachers, a solid academic curriculum, and exceptional co-curricular programs of athletics, arts, community service, and other activities, parental involvement, personalized counseling, and the development of responsibility, integrity, and love of learning. If you want education taught with pride, then you want Heritage Hall.
And Blankenship has stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Leaving it 4th and 7 on the Tiger 46-yard line. 38 seconds on the clock. The Tigers have no choice but to go for it. Wiggins in to do the kicking. Here's the snap. And the kick is away.
Mick Cornett and Kent Myers backed up to wrap up another edition of The Verdict. You know, Blake sure made a lot of important things sound really easy, didn't he?
Well, he did.
He made things happen.
He's a doer. He's a guy that does, once he decides to do something, he gets it done one way or another. As a person who has been going to the Capitol for years and years, I can tell you from my own personal experience is that now there's a very different atmosphere when you walk in. It's just gorgeous. It's a lovely place to be. It conveys a different image, gives a more personal approach and a less bureaucratic approach to what you see. Blake's done a lot in his people. He has a lot of good people to help him. But he's got a lot more to do because in 2007, we'll have our Oklahoma 100th birthday, and Blake is in charge of getting all that done, and we've asked him back next week to tell us about that.
2 websites I want our viewers to keep in mind. First of all, concerning Blake Wade's appearance, OklahomaCentennial.com. If you've got a pen and paper, I'll save you looking in the dictionary on Centennial. It is Oklahoma, then CENTENNIAL.com. And as always, we invite you to check out our website, theverdict.tv. Thanks again to our guest, Blake Wade. For Kent Myers, I'm Mick Cornett. We'll see you next time on The Verdict.